Hi guys, welcome to SquareTable.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
What you want to start it off this time again?
No. This is fine. This is totally fine. Just it sounded like you had something more hiding under your sleeve.
I'm not even wearing any long sleeves.
You have short sleeves.
Yeah, I can't hide anything with short sleeves.
You can hide a card in your short sleeve. Granted, I'll see it coming out, but it'll be it's hidden for a moment.
Yeah, if I go to Vegas, I'm sure I'll be like the greatest blackjack player ever, just replacing all these cards with my short sleeves.
Did you ever see that movie with what's his name? Steve Carell.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi and Jim Carrey were all in this movie about Las Vegas magic.
Oh God!
It was like a comedy.
Shoot, I don't know. What movie was that?
I can't remember what it was called. I'm gonna look it up while I'm talking about it.
All right.
But
what happened in the movie?
Basically, like they were like a pair, like not like a Penn and Teller sort of thing. But
there's three people. He can't do Penn and Teller.
No, there's two. No, two of them. It's Steve Buscemi and Steve Carell are the magicians, and then Jim Carrey is like the mind freak. Street magician.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So like
the rival.
Yeah, he's the rival because like he's edgy and he like draws the crowds because he grosses people out. The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. That's what it was called.
When did this come out? 2013.
Yeah, this came out a while ago. But
yeah, I didn't hear about this.
That just made me think about it for a second because we're talking about Las Vegas, like card tricks in Las Vegas. But pretty much. With that movie, it was just like it's basically Steve Carell doing a bit for the hour 40-minute runtime of it. Like it's the whole thing is just him being kind of like a snobby, uptight, not uptight, but like just like it's kind of like a snobby like I'm too good for everyone else around me. And then Steve Buscemi was like the person who really liked magic, who was still really into magic. But Steve Carell wasn't into it anymore.
So you have the cynical person and the person who's still
the optimist.
Yeah, still sees the glasses half full.
And like it wasn't. I don't know if it was really that funny. Like there was one funny joke maybe in the entirety of the movie.
I mean, you remember the title, so clearly it left some kind of impression on you.
I mean, I didn't remember the title.
Well, you didn't remember.
I googled Steve Buscemi and
okay,
Steve
you remembered
Carell.
What it was though. Clearly.
Yeah. No, I remember what it was.
It left an impression.
There was one funny joke. No, there were a couple, but like one of them that really sticks out is that Steve Buscemi becomes like after the magic act falls apart, because of course it does, because they had to make a comeback. Mm-hmm. He goes around the world and he like starts to like a charity, but the charity is like magic. So he's going to farming communities and villages in like Southeast Asia. And he's handing out, like, magic kits.
What? Okay.
Like, they need water and food, but he's handing out magic kits. And he gives, like, a hat and a bunny to one kid, and the kid runs off to go eat the bunny.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when you were saying he handed out magic kits.
Yeah. So, that was, like, one of the only funny things about that movie. But I remember it.
But you remember it. The only Vegas movies I remember... Well, I watched Austin Powers again recently.
Which one?
The first one.
The first one? Okay.
The very first one. And they had a scene where they're, they go to Vegas. And I think actually most of the movie took place in Vegas. But they had a scene where they're on the strip in Vegas. And they were showing all the sides. And I remember seeing one of the sides was the Stardust, which is like a casino that they tore down years ago. I don't remember which year. But I used to stay there as a kid when we went to Vegas. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, this movie dates Vegas so badly. Or this movie is dated by the fact that Stardust is not there anymore. A lot
of things about that movie date that movie. Like, people used to think Mike Myers was funny.
I mean, he's okay. I don't know what he does anymore, though.
I don't think he's funny. Like, even, like, the thing with, like, Austin Powers was, like, it was a funny accent. And, it was a lot of slapstick.
It was a lot of slapstick.
Which was fine, but he himself isn't funny. It's like, you have to think, like, Austin Powers, years later, becomes Cat in the Hat.
That is a terrifying image.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's his career.
Hey, but he was also an ogre.
He was also an ogre and he's also a love guru.
But I think the ogre is his most famous role.
No, the ogre is
That
the
and
one
Austin
that will
Powers.
live forever.
The one that'll forever.
No one will let that one die.
He's got many layers. If you take down a layer, there will be another one to replace him.
Oh god. That seems like a pretty good place to actually start now.
Yeah, so we're gonna actually start talking about games now.
Welcome to SquareTable, by the way.
Welcome to SquareTable. I'm Glasgow.
And I'm Zach from Two Patricks.
And I don't know why I just waved and you just waved with me.
It felt good.
It felt good.
It felt right.
It felt right to just wave at people who won't ever see our body language.
But they get the meaning behind it, the good intentions.
They'll hear the swoosh of the wind as we wave.
It will. If we stream here, then it'll be ready for that.
We just got to get all the multiple cameras,
all the
set
cameras
up
and shit, and
by all the Logitech C920s or whatever.
I don't want to do it now.
It's actually, I mean,
that sounds like an extreme pain in the ass.
The C920 actually went down in price since they released a new webcam. I forgot the model number. Mm-hmm. The C920, it used to be 90, now it's like 60 or something like that. It went down in price quite considerably.
Could you put it right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also get it has a little I don't know what they're called, screwy thing at the bottom that you can screw on.
You mean like a clamp?
Not a clamp. Well, it does kind of have a clamp for putting on a monitor, but it has a little hole at the bottom that you can twist into a mount, and you can mount it as well.
Oh, I see.
So it's kind of like a digital camera.
I see.
Except it's a webcam.
Okay.
And I guess that's a digital camera in and of itself. But yeah, no, it's reasonably priced now. Anyways, as you can see, we don't have actually much to talk about this week.
No, nothing's been going on.
Nothing really happened that was noteworthy, aside from I guess maybe a few game releases. Cuphead came out, I think.
Yeah, Cuphead did come out.
Cuphead came out. Shadow of War came out, or I think is about to come out. I think tomorrow, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna buy it either, but I know that the reviews are coming in for it. But other than that, not much else. So hopefully the topics that we have are enough to fill an hour.
We don't know if we can fill an hour, but we're gonna give it a try anyway.
We're gonna give our best shot with this. So what do you want to talk about first?
You decide.
So let's start with Star Citizen, actually.
Okay.
Let's start with Star Citizen.
So there's an alpha now for Star Citizen. There's going to be one, actually. It's not out yet. It's the 3.0.0 alpha, and it's going to be, I don't know how it's going to be available. I know it's going to be available to at least some backers. And it just reminded me, just the news itself reminded me that Star Citizen's still a thing, and I'm still terrified of it because what it can do. Not terrified, but it makes me nervous whenever I see Star Citizen, because either this is going to crash and burn, or it's going to be hyper successful, and no matter which one happens, there's something it's going to destroy something. I don't know what it is yet, but something's going to be destroyed in the industry, and it's not going to come back for a while.
Well, I mean, No Man's Sky was kind of similar, though I think with less development time.
There was less development time, but you also just have to think of the sheer amount of funding behind Star Citizen.
How much did it get in its Kickstarter? I don't remember.
It was some astronomically ridiculous high number.
Wasn't there another game that also got a super high number?
I think Broken Age got a pretty high number when it was kickstarted a long time ago. That had what's his name? What's his face?
Schafer on it.
Yeah, Grim Fandango and Brutal Legend maker Tim Schafer.
Yeah.
He basically said, "Hey, I'm gonna make this," and then people threw money at it. And I think people threw a lot of money at Shenmue as well.
They did.
And then Sony picked it up.
They did throw a lot of money at Shenmue. I believe, is it Shenmue 3?
Yeah, it was Shenmue 3.
They threw a lot of money at that too. I think it actually broke its goal within the first 2 days after the Kickstarter got announced or something like that. It was just wha-bam, there it is. I'm trying to think of the other games that got kickstarted. All the other games that got kickstarted that didn't end up panning out were a thing. The Mandate was a thing. I forget how much that raised, but that did not turn out too well. And we'll get into that
in a minute.
In a minute, because that does lead into our next topic. But
Okay,
Does
so
it say?
the original goal was 4 million for Star Citizen.
Mm-hmm.
They've raised 148 million.
That's pretty much like
which is quite a bit. It is quite a bit of money.
it's a lot of money. 148 million on the promise of a good game, and it's been in development for how many years?
A long time. Let's just say a long time. I don't want to look it up right now.
Yeah, I can see that it would be really, whatever happens, it would be really significant.
Even if it fails, it's going to be really significant. If it succeeds, it's going to be really significant. But one of the terms they use to describe this is that it's like going to be like an early access, basically. It's similar to an early access. And when I hear that, I think, oh boy, time for half the player base to get sick of the game before it comes out, and then never pick it up again.
I mean, what's to say that Star Citizen doesn't already have that happening?
Well, I think it's like this might be the first time they actually have everything together in like one spot for like a complete, like, not release, but like a complete like showing.
Is this their first alpha?
No, this is the first. It's newsworthy that this is the first alpha I've heard about that was worth being talked about.
I see.
And
okay.
the article says that this is like the first time they've had it all together in one spot,
Okay.
including with the launcher and with patches.
So basically, all the significant groundwork is there.
There's a foundation for the game. They just need to now add more shit to the game, is what my understanding is.
I see.
Which, because I remember one of the things that they were promising, or rather one of the things they were working on for a while, was like having a first or third person shooter mode in the game. Like you get off your ship and you do things outside your ship. And I see that they have they have motion capture and all that of that. That's what I've seen. But then I remember they said that they were going to hold off on it indefinitely because they weren't sure how they were going to work that into the game. And I remember a lot of people be like moaning and groaning about that, and like that sort of leads into something else we're going to talk about.
Exactly, yeah. But they said, so I guess that I haven't been reading the reports from Star Citizen, but were these like concrete promises, or were they just kind of going, we hope to have first person or third person?
They gave like dev updates. I don't really follow Star Citizen much, so I remember there being a lot of dev updates in the beginning, at least. I stopped following after a while. I don't know if they still do it, like publicly at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember them showing off like footage of like them either recording things or making effects or something like that. So I don't know if they ever really promised it. These are all things like, I think it was one of those like stretch goal sort of things.
Oh, a stretch goal. Okay.
Which in and of itself is a brand of poison on Kickstarter.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things on Kickstarter that 80% of the time it's probably gonna suck or fail or whatever, but then there's that 20% where people actually make good uses out of it, like stretch goals or their funding.
Right.
But it's really rare.
I don't know, I feel like stretch goals are the sort of thing where it's like you can like premeditatively take out part of what you were gonna do and then say, I'm gonna add it as part of your stretch goal now.
I guess that's true.
I'm not saying everyone's going to do that. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
That is true. It's kind of like how, First Day DLC. This should be in the game, but guess what? You're going to have to pay $5.
There's no excuse for First Day DLC.
So you're saying that the Kickstarter stretch goals, there is somewhat of an excuse, but First Day DLC isn't?
There's something there. Not everything. Like if you had a budget, if you had a set budget, not every Kickstarter project does. But for ones that do have set budgets, like, I have a pretty good feeling that at least Kingdom Come Deliverance is somewhat well planned.
At least it's finally coming out.
It's coming out. So there's actually like a release date and all that.
There's a release date now, yeah.
So at least there's some planning behind it. It's actually going to come to fruition, is the idea.
But what if it sucks?
Oh, well, that'll be unfortunate.
Did you pack it?
I don't remember, actually.
You should.
It was definitely one of those things. I may have thrown $1 at it.
$1? I mean, yeah, I guess you could throw $1 and that would still count.
I don't really back things on Kickstarter. Like, the last thing I thought about backing was Dark Devotion, and it's only because they give you a heavy demo.
You should, but I told you to play the light demo.
Yeah, I did play light demo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for you to play the light demo so I can have like a second a second opinion
Yeah.
on it.
Oh, I need to get to that.
Yeah, I mean it's fun, and we can talk about that at some other point. But like, pretty much with Kickstarter, like back during Kingdom Come Deliverance time, I didn't have a lot of money to throw at things. I was working a really piss poor job that had very few hours at that point. Like I was making ends meet at that point. I was struggling to, at least. So I didn't have money to be throwing at things like Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
If it came around again, if I could go back, if like part of history were wiped out, and just specifically Kingdom Come Deliverance had to be backed again. If I had to back it, I would.
All right, so we have your word on that.
Yeah.
So
on this time vortex, in this space-time continuum disruption, that's totally gonna happen.
Yes, somebody's gonna wipe out the last few years of development on
they're gonna wipe out all of human history for the past few years just so I have to back Kingdom Come.
They need that extra dollar. They
need to prove my word.
How much would you donate or back? That's a better term.
That's the question of the ages, apparently.
Is it similar to how the mandate got backed and then totally failed? Yeah,
the mandate. Is
that the question you have to ask?
It's sort of. I guess it's a pretty good lead into the mandate, isn't it? I wanted the mandate to succeed.
I think everybody did.
I didn't back it. It was a good idea. I think it was like a Star Trek game, with more violent, sort of.
I thought it was like at the time when the mandate came out. I think it was around the time Mass Effect 3
or when it was announced,
Mass Effect 3.
It was probably a little after Mass Effect 3. The idea I got from Mandate was like you got to be a starship captain, and you got to fight space battles among the stars. But you had to, you had like a crew and all that, and they all had names, and they would die, and so you had to like make do with that loss. Like you could like part of your ship's hull can be blown away, and then 80 people get sucked out into the airlock.
Mm-hmm.
Like that part seemed like just having to take care of like what would have to be hundreds of people.
Hundreds of people by name and face, apparently.
Yeah, that part seemed cool. But maybe like a couple months ago? Maybe not a couple months ago. Maybe like... Was it like July? Or
I think
May?
It was... I remember...
Or last year?
Okay.
Or 6 months ago?
You're throwing out a lot of timelines, and only maybe like
only one
two of them is accurate.
I want to say the 6 months ago one is true.
It was about... You are right, it was about 6 months ago. I think when I was reading the forums around January, they were kind of asking, hey, what's going on? Because I guess like people who had backed it and hadn't heard from the Mandate development team in a while. And then around the June or something like that, or March or April, I don't remember. It was their final update, and it's been months since they've actually put out an update for the Mandate.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically just sounds like it's dead. They're done working on it.
Well, the what's the word for it? The trademark expired. On the mandate.
On the mandate?
The mandate trademark has expired, and the website for the mandate website is no longer owned by that company.
It's like bare bones. There's nothing in there. I think the forums are still up.
That's there's another website though for the mandate, and that one is that company's website's gone.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
it no longer exists.
It's lost in the void. It got sucked out of the ship from the whole breach.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like it was Kickstarter, so it was never guaranteed to succeed, but also it's disappointing because people threw money at it.
They threw money at a promising concept, and that promise wasn't delivered, and that sets I think a scary precedence, because while yes, it's kind of a given that you back something like on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, that it's not 100% guaranteed to succeed, because there have been so many other projects that did not end up panning out for whatever reason. But the mandate was huge. It was like a really, I think at the time it was like one of the highest kickstarted projects, something like that, some really huge amount. And the fact that it just didn't work out, I think, sets a huge blow to all these crowdfunding sites.
Yeah, it was also a pretty quiet death. You know, like you had to go digging to find out that it was actually dead.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, it's like things like the mandate fail, and then things like Kingdom Come Deliverance come to fruition actually, and may actually be pretty good. We don't know yet, but
You're hoping.
I'm at least going to try to play Kingdom Come Deliverance when it comes out.
Fingers crossed it'll be good.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, and so
mailed fist crossed.
The game that For Honor should have been.
Yeah, I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance just seems like more work put into it than like another game called Mountain. Not more work. That's not fair. Mountain Blade is this game that's sort of like Kingdom Come Deliverance, but it was more sandboxy.
Yeah.
And there were like, it didn't look as good, didn't really sound as good, and the AI wasn't very sophisticated, but it was good I still play it sometimes. It's still fun as a medieval sim. Not like medieval sims where EA released a medieval sims like, oh, you're the king of a castle, and there's a market down there, and there's magic. Like, nothing
what
like...
What medieval sim is this?
Oh, I have it, actually. It's upstairs.
You have it, but you don't... Okay, it's so mediocre you don't remember the title.
I played it once. I think it's Sims Medieval, and that's literally what it's called.
Is that really what it... like EA... Okay, we're talking about The Sims, right?
I will get it after recording, and you can see that there is a box that says Sims Medieval. It exists. We're
talking about The Sims, right?
The Sims.
Like the actual...
The EA Sims game made
with
by...
With the green diamonds.
The green diamond made by that company. I think it's called Midas. Or I might be thinking of another company. Whatever. Green Diamond Sims where you control people and they speak Simlish. And...
They made a medieval version of that?
There's a medieval Sims game, yes.
Why?
Reasons. What was I saying? I can't remember now.
EA,
my brain is filled with medieval Sims.
Medieval Sims, god damn it, EA.
Oh, I guess the thing is that like it was good. Like Mountain Blade was good certainly, and they're making a new one called Bannerlord, which I'm definitely going to play. And that one seems like it has a lot more polish in it. But Kingdom Come Deliverance has more of a story. And there's going to be a lot more, it's going to take more processing power probably. And I guess that's the thing. I'm still going to play Mountain Blade. And I'm still going to buy and play Bannerlord. But it seems like a very underserved genre. Medieval sim.
Medieval. Not actual Sims.
Not
medieval.
Actual Sims Medieval, but medieval sim.
I mean, I guess it's because it's just a lot of melee combat and probably doesn't seem as fun to the current crowd.
I'm sure. Melee combat is also probably harder to work with because there's a lot of physics things that you have to deal with.
That's true. I mean, unless you're actually going for realistic bullet physics in current.
In a lot of shooter games, you can just it can just be just like you pressed a button. And I guess the same thing for melee weapons too, depending on like if it was like something made in like Game Maker or like something that was like basically top down, you don't really have to worry about that as much. I mean, I get it.
Depends on how ambitious you want to be. Like if you're trying to do more physics-based things like chivalry,
it takes more effort to build a system that's kind of situated around melee combat, though. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, because I think a lot of when it comes to shooting bullets,
because FPS will never die. Of course, there will always be, engines and mechanics for FPS and third-person shooter games.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, first-person shooter games, it's like a bullet goes in a straight line. A lot of people aren't gonna account for any kind of physics with that bullet.
Yeah, even then, you won't usually get bullet drop unless your game markets itself as like hardcore or something.
I mean, yeah, and very rarely do games do that because apparently bullet drop frustrates people.
Bullet drop's annoying.
I don't know.
Physics are annoying.
Physics are important.
Physics are annoying. I don't want to have physics.
Is that why you didn't do well in physics?
I actually didn't do that well in physics. I had honors physics or AP physics, whatever it was called. I got like a C+. Because physics sucks.
I mean, physics is okay. It's just I hate just learning it in class. I'd rather learn it by myself with more applicable things. So I'm okay with physics outside the classroom, but in the classroom, I'm like, oh crap.
Well, I've yet to take one in like a high school, like a college class, but in high school, it was very I'm not getting any of this. It's
going over my head, just like the trajectory on this projectile.
That's why I need to learn about bullet drop.
You gotta learn about the horizontal and the vertical vectors.
There's so much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You learn slowly, so you can pass your AP test again.
Yeah.
I think I got like a 3 on that AP test. It was bad.
I don't know. I don't even think I took the AP test.
You didn't take it?
I was like, fuck it. This is as good as I'm gonna do.
What? Wait. Okay. What AP test did you take in high school?
I took a lot actually.
Because like I took a lot too, and I know you were in some of them with me, so I'm trying to remember which ones.
Both English. Both the second.
Both English.
Both the English. Yeah. So 3rd and 4th year. Econ, chemistry.
I didn't take chemistry. Actually, I think I opted out of that one.
And both the history, world history and U.S. history and government. And I did well in all the social studies ones, but when it came to like the hard sciences, I had issues.
I think instead of chemistry, I took biology. I did take the AP Chem class, but it was like, I didn't feel like I wanted to take the test.
Right.
At the end of the day, because I was like, I'm not really doing well in this, so I'd
I
rather
don't
not
need
shell the money.
I don't need to put another thing on me. It's cool.
Because like I didn't think I was gonna be like able to pass it reasonably. Like 3 was a passing on an AP test. I didn't think I was gonna be able to reasonably pass the AP chemistry test with a 3. So I think that's the only AP test I didn't take in high school. But I don't know why I thought I was gonna be able to pass the AP Econ test. Because we had a shit teacher.
No, we did.
We had a horrible AP Econ teacher.
He sucked.
He was really bad.
Like his whole thing was like, I was a cool
stockbroker.
Yeah, and now I'm teaching because I was bored.
I was bored, so I went back and got.
We're getting really off topic, by the way.
Yes, we are, but I had to complain about.
Do you have like some deep seated like resentment that you have to work out?
That I have to work out against that teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't even teach there anymore. He got arrested,
no,
so it doesn't matter. But he was, out of all the teachers, he's the one that I remember the most negatively about, for sure. That and his stupid Rolex that he brought up one time. So, anyways, we're back on topic of
Kickstarter games.
Kickstarter games. A thing that I don't remember if we talked about in the last podcast or not was frequency of updates. So we talked about what makes a successful Kickstarter or crowdfunded game, and I was saying that it had a lot to do with the updates, like how open the development team was to their backers and the community. So in comparison, I used the example of the game Indivisible, which is made by the same studio that made Skullgirls. And they update a lot. Like, at least once a week there's an update. There's a weekly update. And it could be something like, oh, we're animating this character. Because they have a lot of characters in that game. We're animating this character. These are the new details. This is the new design. This is the new abilities. Or they'll have, like, an animation stream and they'll show actively the animation on the character. They'll draw it out in real time to show they're working on it. Which is really nice. It gives a lot of transparency to the project itself, and I think keeps people's interested, basically. And I think that's what the mandate lacked, in that there weren't that many updates. It had 32 updates, and it's been in development for 2-3 years, something like that. Whereas Indivisible has only been in development for like a year since the Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and it's already got like 70 updates. So I thought that was a difference. But what are you doing?
Oh, it's just this. Go ahead, keep talking. It's just a strap from like that keeps all the cords together.
I'm just seeing you play with it, and I'm very confused. Do you need
continue?
Do you need to play with my fidget cube?
No. Continue with what you're saying.
Well, that was the end of my topic. That's why I was like looking at your thing and wondering what the heck you were doing with the strap.
But anyway, with the updating, I think that it sort of boils down to like how much you give off, because it's not just like if you update every week, that's good. I think as long as it's like you don't give them too much, because if you give someone too much and then you can't like deliver on it exactly as you said, then someone's gonna get upset at you.
Yeah.
For something that may not be in your control at all.
This was a problem with Jeff Kaplan. He talked about it on the forums, how sometimes he's afraid of, well, I don't know if it's just him. It probably is him and his team. But developers are afraid of saying too much, because if they say something, it's like inadvertently making a promise to the community. And the internet does not forget. They will remember it. So if you suddenly say, oh, we can't do this, or you don't include it in the game, the internet will pull it up and then go, dishonest! Liars!
And I just be like, no, things changed and I couldn't do it anymore. But that's not good enough for the internet. Everything's either hypocrisy or lies.
I mean, it depends. Some developers are hypocritical or liars. I mean, I don't think digital homicide is any shining beacon of
no, it's not.
goodness.
But it's like there are people who mean perfectly well and then they just can't get something done. Either there's not the expertise, or there's not enough funding, or they're running out of time, they have to hit a deadline. It's things like that. I think it's a sort of an issue. I totally understand Jeff Kaplan saying that he and his team are afraid to talk to the community, because it's not like a fear of like, oh, they're gonna say mean things about me, but it's like, oh, I can't tell them anything, because the second I do, if it no longer becomes a thing that's actually gonna happen, they're gonna get really upset, and then that becomes a whole thing, and then there's death threats involved.
That's where it gets really bad.
And doxing and shit.
Yeah, when the community starts going into super vigilante mode, and not the good kind of vigilante.
That's not even a vigilante. That's just being a creepy stalker.
I mean,
there's not even a crime to punish for a vigilante to do.
Well, in their heads, they think the crime is you lied to us, or you didn't fulfill your promise, or whatever, or you got us hyped and now you broke our hearts because we got too hyped, or something like that. No Man's Sky kind of stuff.
As bad as No Man's Sky was, no one deserves a death threat over No Man's Sky. Nobody
deserves a death threat, period.
Right.
Like, just in general. And that's happened a lot in the gaming industry. There's just people getting death threats because they did one thing or another.
Because you didn't deliver on the thing that you said you were going to deliver on, or that you didn't say what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, and it's just like, you guys need to stop. It's just these people just need to back off and like think that not everything revolves around their whims, basically. But yeah, that's not gonna happen, unfortunately. I hate being that cynical, but some people are just assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's really unfortunate that Jeff Kaplan has to feel that
Life
way.
lessons with Glasgow.
People
are just assholes.
People are just assholes.
That's like the Tom Segura bit where he goes up to someone in a movie theater, like one of the staffers, and it's like, hey, there's people talking in this movie, and the employee says, some people suck. And he sits there and goes, huh. No, that's a good point.
So they're just talking in movie. That, I think I had that happen one time. I don't remember which movie it was, but we went to go see a movie, and they just had these 14-year-olds. It was Dunkirk. I went to go see Dunkirk. And they had these 14-year-olds.
Oh yes, the teen movie of the year, Dunkirk.
It was PG-13. I was really...
And it had that guy from One Direction in it.
And it had that guy from One Direction in it, which is probably why quite a few people went to see it in the first place, to be honest. It was a good movie. I like Dunkirk. But this is these teenagers in the back, like in the row behind me, were just like talking almost nonstop. And Dunkirk, a lot of what makes Dunkirk effective is the sound, because there's a lot of just audio editing that works really well in Dunkirk, and very very few dialogue scenes, and the teenagers just kept talking and talking. I was just like, oh my god, why of all days did you have to sit behind me and start talking in the movie theater? Just go use your cell phone or something. At least I can't see the stupid bright screen from this distance.
As long as you're behind me, I can't see the screen.
I can't see the screen.
As long as it's behind you.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're shining a giant flashlight in the movie theater.
They should have an anti-horror game where it's just, there's no jump scare behind you, it's just don't look at the lights behind you. Not because it's going to kill you, but because it's going to distract you from a movie you're watching.
The movie is the actual horror game.
Yeah,
If you look behind, it's like, oh, your jump scare's over. No more horror game.
And I was like, oh, look what you did. You were supposed to pay attention to the jump scare.
You ruined it.
Now look what you did.
You ruined the experience. How
3 years of development gone.
Watch that be a anti-piracy thing. It's like, look behind you. You look behind, it immediately breaks the game.
Wait, what? No, hold on. So
like
you look behind you, and you turn around. And
there's a prompt to say look behind you, and you look behind, and it breaks the game.
Oh,
that only appears on a pirated version.
Okay,
does that make sense?
No. I was still like in movie mode, so I was thinking of like those stupid anti-piracy ads.
You wouldn't pirate a car.
Yes, I fucking would.
What kind of car, though?
I will pirate every car if I have to.
Pirate a luxury car?
I will pirate every car.
Pirate everything except a Humvee.
I would download everything if I could.
Download all the cars.
You wouldn't download food, would you? Are you out of your fucking mind? Of course I would.
Honestly, we would download food if that was a possibility. Like, why would you not download food?
That's the episode title, by the way.
Why would you not download?
No, you wouldn't download food, would you?
Okay. You gotta say in that voice too, like all the essentials that you need. You wouldn't download water.
It's like I feel like that's a good idea.
You wouldn't download the things you need to survive, like air.
That's the point of like Star Trek replicators. They turn energy into food and shit.
Is that really what happens in Star Trek?
Yep.
Oh. I never watched Star Trek,
That's
so
why
I don't know.
Earth is a post-economy society, because they can just make everything. So people just do what they want.
It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Granted, there's like 2-3 centuries of civil war and nuclear Armageddon in between, but it's
That's
cool.
true, yeah. I did hear about that. That little blip in history.
That little blip.
Just the tiny blip where all the shit goes down.
All
humanity gets wiped
all the Blade Runner era in the middle. Where everything sucks.
What do you mean?
No, Blade Runner's a cool movie, but if you lived in Blade Runner, it would fucking suck.
I mean, yes, that's true.
It's like living in the Warhammer universe. Everything about it sucks.
But wouldn't you want to live in a neo-noir, universe? Where you could just have, shadows fall on you dramatically, and you would look just so cool.
Yeah, but that's an alternate dimension then, with different rules on, physics and shit. Different universe rules.
Different universe rule. It's shadows. Just stand under a light.
That's like saying, wouldn't it be cool if you were in Warhammer 40k and you could be a space marine? Yeah, the 5% that survive to be space marines.
So Halo.
So everyone else just dies horrible, gruesome deaths, and then if you become a space marine, you super die.
You super kill everybody, and you super die.
You super kill for 200-300 years, and then you super die when something rips out your chest.
Perfect. Sounds like a great way to kill.
That's the end of your life in Warhammer. Something rips out your chest every time.
Beautiful.
Did you die in your sleep? Something comes by and rips out your chest.
It's a xenomorph.
That's how you died. That's how you died in your sleep.
I mean, you died in your sleep. You wouldn't even be awake.
They have these things in 40k called Tyranids, and they're way worse than necromorphs because they eat everything.
I mean, necromorphs, their whole point is to just infect you.
No, but Tyranids live in these giant space hives that just travel around and eat systems.
So the hive?
It's a hive. It's a Tyranid hive, and it takes to destroy one. It takes the entire combined effort of every single ship in the Imperium.
Oh, it's not the hive. It's the flood. That's what I was trying to remember.
It's super flood.
It's the flood.
They don't infect people. They don't need to. They have all this other cool shit to kill you with.
Oh, god damn it. That's terrifying.
They just kill you with everything that they have.
All their
Even the babies will kill you.
Super mega death babies.
Yeah, they're cool.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, so Back on topic. Do we have anything else we wanted to talk about concerning Jeff Kaplan's statement about how developers are scared about saying too much or being too open with the community?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. Just that it's totally understandable that you would be afraid of your community if you expect your community to be toxic.
I think that's also, it really says something when Overwatch, he realizes Overwatch is super toxic.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't say stuff without people.
I mean, it's not toxic like League of Legends is toxic, where it doesn't matter. Everyone will be toxic with you.
The thing is, Riot's trying with League of Legends to make it less toxic.
They're trying, but it's not. It's not enough. It's ingrained. It's already ingrained. It's already been infected. Every part of the body has been infected.
Infected by the virus that is toxicity.
Yeah.
That's a horrible
infected by the virus that was called MLG at some point.
MLG Pro Gamer, yeah. I think, is the new strain of the virus.
I don't like it.
We gotta get all our vaccines out, get all the anti-toxicity vaccines, and but yeah, it's like really unfortunate that developers feel like they can't be open with the community to release.
Well, that's the thing. News. Like if you know your community and your community is really chilled out, then it's fine. But if you have a really large community like Blizzard does, there's no avoiding the toxicity. And like most of your community may be cool. Like it may be cool. Like most of your community may be completely chilled out, but you're never going to completely get rid of the toxicity around you because people are assholes.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between something like in a crowdfunded game like Indivisible, is that the Indivisible community itself is pretty chill. So that's probably why
there's also no competition sort of in the thing. It's a single player game, yeah. It doesn't have that multiplayer aspect to inject competition into it.
That's true. Maybe we should just make more single player games.
I mean, like Dark Souls for the most part is pretty chill until you start talking. Actually, no, never mind. Scratch that. No, the Dark Souls community is like half and half, complete, sludge and pretty okay people.
What do you mean? What do you mean by sludge?
Would you just people who are like really elitist about a game that they didn't make. So then it's like, oh, you fucking Scrubs and Get Good.
Oh,
and people who take Get Good as like a personal mantra, not as a joke.
It's gotta get good, noob.
Yeah,
but that should be a joke. I thought that was a joke.
No, that's not a joke with everyone.
Oh God,
some people really feel like that.
Okay, so I see what you mean by that. So I guess what I like about the Dark Souls community is the half that's basically very chill, very memey, very like we just playing for fun, not because we're elitist assholes.
We're not here for your 20th annual honor fight after Pontiff Sullivan Duel Arena.
Pontiff Sullivan's an asshole as a boss, though.
Yeah, but then the area right after him is like a fan decided like dueling place.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's no enemies around.
Yeah, it's like just the fight arenas, and then like the people who were like, I'm so good at this game. Those guys, they grind my gears
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, so speaking of Dark Souls, I don't know. Does Dark Souls have side quests? Are they considered side quests?
Kind of.
Kinda. It's
the same way Dark Souls writing is called writing.
That's true.
And it's kind of writing, but not really. It's more of it's done to such a not subtle and like they intentionally did it like that. Like subtle, like this is so small and insignificant that I could easily miss this sort of subtle.
Yeah. Not
subtle, like cool, like clever comedy sort of way. Like some of the jokes in Futurama that were based around like math and physics.
Mm-hmm.
Not like that kind of subtle. No, like subtle, like you wouldn't see this unless someone told you about it. So kind of subtle.
Yeah. Because this leads into the next topic, which is not really news. It's just a general discussion.
It was on PC Gamer, right?
It wasn't on PC Gamer, actually. Oh. It was on the, surprisingly, Games subreddit. So, I'm going to see if I can pull it up. So, somebody asked the question, well, they didn't ask the question. They just kind of said, side quests nowadays are so trivial and boring that they put the game back and make it like super routine. Something similar to that. Let me see if I can find the actual.
That it was more of a chore.
It was more of a chore, yes. I'm trying to see if I can find the actual.
I mean, like, you get that with a lot of the Ubisoft games, don't you? Like the Assassin's Creed and the Far Cry's. It's like the things to the side, like the challenges and like the findables and the side missions. Those are just, you're not doing those because you want to. You're doing them because they're a thing to do. They're padding out the content of the game. You're not doing them because you're interested.
Yeah, it's a lot of. This was a big problem in the first Assassin's Creed. I don't know about the newer Assassin's Creeds, but
I mean, I played Syndicate and it was super
which
a
one
problem.
was Syndicate? The British one. One
of them is the big fighter, and the other one's more the bookish type. Guess which one's which?
Oh, okay, I remember now. Yes. Yeah. I mean, how are the side quests in those compared to like the first one?
Just the same fucking, like, here's a side assassination, go do it. Here's a mission to liberate the area from Templars, go do it. Here's a gang fight that you're gonna breeze through because the combat is just whatever, go do it. They're things that don't really change the way you play the game. They're just adding more things for you to do.
Well, I mean, like, but in terms of like the type, well, yes, obviously they're adding more things for you to do. But in terms of like the types of side quests and stuff like that, is it like an improvement to Assassin's Creed 1 at least?
I mean, in what way?
And like, okay, or I guess a
better
metric is Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay,
that improved side quests a little bit.
Okay,
not the greatest, but definitely
I would
higher
say
than Assassin's Creed 1.
That Assassin's Creed's 2, Brotherhood, and Black Flag have better side quests than Syndicate.
Oh, that is
But Syndicate is at least on par or better than Assassin's Creed 3 and 1. And Revelations, I don't know where to put on there.
Revelations is just kind of more of the same, really.
So just put it where Brotherhood is then.
Yeah, but I mean, the quality of side quests, it's not like they improved anything. It was just kind of the same.
Put it on. I would put it under Brotherhood just because
because
it's like it.
He didn't need a third game.
Redoing shit docks points. He doesn't need to have a third romance where he's like in his 50s and he's courting some flower girl.
Okay, that like really bothered me a lot about Ezio's story. Okay, so I like Ezio as a character. He's a great protagonist and stuff like that. And I liked Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. They didn't need Assassin's Creed Revelations. Even if the trailer cinematic that they showed at E3 was great.
It was really nice.
It was really good. The song was good and the trailer itself was good. They didn't need Revelations.
No. Revelations doesn't add anything significant.
It doesn't add anything.
I mean, I guess it helps you tie up Altair's story.
It ties up his story.
But you could have done that anyway.
Yeah. Like, that's about it. Like, it tied up his story. But you didn't... We don't need a third story of Ezio. And we also don't need a third romance. Like, what happened to Thief Girl?
Well, I mean,
I know.
We do know what happened to Thief Girl's voice actress, whichever one.
Her voice actress.
I know, but like... I've heard that some people prefer to be called a voice actor because they don't want to be differentiated from voice actors male.
Oh, no, I thought you meant... Oh, okay.
No, I know voice actress for women, but it's like...
No, that's not what I meant.
I wasn't confused if it was a man or woman that voiced a thief.
Oh. I thought you were talking about her face model, too, because I think it's the same person.
I can't remember.
But, yeah, she died.
Right.
In a car crash.
And then there's like, oh, well, we don't want to continue without her. It's like, that's all right. I understand that. But you also could have had another voice actor do it, unless you thought it would be uncomfortable. Then I kind of get it. But then all the romance options after her were kind of silly.
Well, I mean, I even looked it up last night too. The romance options that he had. So he had the first girl. I forgot her name.
The girl who you see in the flashbacks and she dies.
Yes, which is unfortunate, but it's like, okay. But, you know, it makes sense. It's his I guess you could call it his childhood, his boyhood kind of thing. This girl that he was courting when he was younger before he became an assassin.
And
it makes sense. That romance makes sense.
Ezio's entire childhood is just people dying around him when he gets close.
That's his entire life, dude.
That's his well, more so when he's a kid.
That's true.
Like 3/4 of his family are dead at the beginning of Assassin's Creed 2, or at least a half. It's half. I think it's half.
It's half because his sister, his mom. It's half. It's half.
And he goes and sees his uncle Mario,
who also
eats shit, if my memory serves correctly.
Yeah, no, he does. But yeah, so it was her. It was, I think her name was Rosa, the thief, who's kind of played a lot of roles in Assassin's Creed 2, and then you never heard from her again. And then like in Brotherhood, I think there's a brief romance with Katarina Sforza or something like that.
No, there is.
And like that was the beginning of Brotherhood or something.
That was beginning bit of Brotherhood, and then you had to save her from the Vatican
or something like that. Yeah.
In Brotherhood, and then you have a huge old fight with a bunch of guards.
That fight with the apple was fun though.
I mean, the apple parts are fun.
The apple parts are fun, but so then like her, and then I think in a comic or something, he had a brief romance with the model for Mona Lisa. Lisa.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in one of the comics.
That's a thing?
That's a thing. He had a brief romance.
What? Wait, so he just shows up at Da Vinci's and it's like, hey, can I borrow her for a second?
I need to borrow your model.
Just for 5 minutes.
Just for
I'll
5
probably
minutes.
be done before that.
It's okay, Leonardo. But it was okay. Yeah. So this is basically how the comic went, and this is part of that like anthology comic that got released for the 10-year anniversary. I linked this to you, I think, last night too, when I was talking about...
When you're talking about Connors...
When I was talking about Connors...
They tie up his story in, like, the weakest way possible.
In the weakest way, because nobody gives a shit about Connor at Ubisoft.
No one likes Connor. No one invites Connor to parties.
He has the weakest development out of everybody. He gets the least amount of media, too. It kind of sucks, actually.
Sort of sucks.
Because he's, like, also one of the few characters who are, like... who is part indigenous, too. And you don't get a lot of games with main characters like that. So it's like, okay, thanks for the diversity, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Anyways, as I was saying with Ezio, it's that, yes, he had a romance with the Mona Lisa model. Lisa Ghirardelli or something like that, I think was her name. The speculated model. So this is what happened. The beginning was he visits Leonardo on his deathbed. Then he has a flashback to the Mona Lisa because he sees the Mona Lisa painting on the side. And then he remembers that when he was getting chased by guards, he fell through a roof or something like that. And like he managed to escape them, but was hurt. Then Lisa found him, and then she nursed
and his
him.
pants were off.
Not yet. She found him, and he nursed him back to hell. But so they spend a few days with each other, and then they grow close to each other.
And then he takes his pants off.
She was married though. Can't do that.
And then he super takes his pants off.
That's true. Marriage didn't stop Ezio before.
Nothing ever stopped Ezio in the way. If there's boob on the other side, he's going to get boob.
I mean, he's just a ladies' man like that. That's why I think Rosa...
No social contract will stop Ezio.
I think Katarina Sforza was married, or like her husband died or
her
something.
Her husband super died.
Her husband died? No, but he married... He like was courting first love, and she was married too. And then she died. But, yeah, so...
All these stories go, he met the woman, took his pants off, and then later she died.
Couldn't handle Ezio. He was too much. So yeah, then like Lisa and Ezio grow close, and then they like I didn't read the comic, but like the summary was they grow close, but they can't say their true feelings because... And
then she died.
Because no, she didn't. Can't say their true feelings because she's a married man, and Ezio's an assassin.
She's a married man.
Married to a man. My bad. Married to a man. She's married to a man
It
already.
could be both. You don't know.
She's married to a man. Anyways, and then so Ezio, he becomes well enough to leave, and so he goes. And then I don't remember, some time later, he goes to visit Leonardo and he jumps in and Leonardo's like painting her. And Lisa sees her. She does the famous half smile thing. And Leonardo's like, hold it, I gotta paint this. And he starts painting it because she sees Ezio and is like, oh, this man that I liked for 2 days because I nursed him back to health. And that's in the comic ends of Leonardo dying. But yeah.
Leonardo taking his pants off and then dying.
But why would he do that in the first place?
I don't know.
He's already in bed.
Maybe he just wants to be comfortable. You don't know.
I mean, is that a thing? Would he have done that?
I don't know. The only tidbit of history I know about Leonardo, it's not like a main entry thing, is that it's hypothesized he was gay.
I think that's a pretty...
Is that like established that he was gay?
No, it's not established, but it's like a pretty common hypothesis.
Yeah.
Because like they didn't mention it, I think, in Brotherhood, because his pupil, I think, or one of his pupils, Salai or something like that, makes an appearance, and they hypothesize Salai and Leonardo were possibly lovers. So that does appear in I think Brotherhood for Assassin's Creed. But yeah, that comic was like, really, Ezio having a romance with the Mona Lisa lady? Out of all the things they could have written, it's not like the comics were fantastic anyways in that anthology, because they ended Connor's story in like the weakest way possible.
The ending of Ezio's story should be his last wish is to seduce a whole cloister of nuns. of like the most Catholic nuns that have ever existed. And he seduces all of them. And then he dies. And then he takes his pants off.
But why would he die first and then take his pants off? You can't do it after he's dead.
He can't. Nothing stops him.
Nothing stops. It comes off anyways.
What were we even talking about?
I don't remember, actually. Oh, side quests.
This podcast is so well put together.
We're really organized.
We're very tired.
Okay, so the original thing, back to the topic of
side quests.
Low quality side quests are making modern games inconsistent and a chore to play. So that's how we got into Assassin's Creed.
Definitely with Assassin's Creed.
So with Assassin's Creed, definitely.
Definitely most all role-playing games that issue too. Even Witcher has some side quests that just feel like you're just grinding.
I think Mass Effect had a big problem with that.
Mass Effect 1, the quests were kind of like, they were like kind of varied, but then as you went on, they became more like, go here, kill these guys.
Yeah, there was no variety. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't know how to write good side quests because they're side quests. They're not the main story.
And depending on which, like, Bethesda RPG you play of Fallout or Elder Scrolls, some amount of those quests will be boring too.
Yeah,
but some of them can be made fun, even if they follow the normal motif.
Yeah, and so, I guess, what do you think makes a good side quest? Or a good set of side quests in a...
No matter how long it goes, there has to be a complete beginning and end of this side quest.
Okay, so
if it's one side quest, it has to be resolved.
So like a story kind of thing.
Yeah, if it's like multiple side quests in a chain, there has to be there has to be a conclusion at the end.
Okay.
And I guess in that sort of vein, there should be something that sets aside that side quest from the other side quests. Even like not talking about things like repeatable quests, like if you're playing Skyrim. And you do one of the quests that involve you, like, oh, go hunt these guys for the companions. Those are just raiding quests you can do whenever. Like, not those kind of quests. Those quests are intended to be just cookie cutter, go kill those guys for money. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be like the daily life of like companions. So that's why it fits in there. But if you're talking about like a quest with a story, for example, like if you're like a good example would be that in Fallout 3, I think. Hold on, no. Do I want to use Fallout 3 or New Vegas for this? Let's use New Vegas. Okay. There's a side quest in New Vegas that basically boils down to you're trying to investigate you're trying to investigate someone's death, an NCR man's death. So NCR is like the New California Republic. They're like they're the army defending New Vegas from like this army of guys that look like they got all their clothing from Caesar's Palace.
Caesar's Palace.
So yeah, Caesar's Legion, and you're trying to find out, well, how did he die? I mean, like, there has to be some reason that he died here, and then you kind of go on this long excursion going from the military base to the kind of like half casino, half not cat house, because they actually have sex there. What brothel? Half brothel, half casino. And you go from there to like some of the communities around you, and you find out that he found out that people were siphoning water, but these communities needed the water because they couldn't, because NCR is taking all the water for their crops, which of course they need, but these communities in like the Freeside area also need water for their crops. Mm-hmm. And this guy was kind of like the guy who got murdered was involved. I can't remember how he was involved. Either he found out about it or he was supplying them. And there's a number of quests that kind of follow that dynamic of water, but basically like that quest basically ends with either you saying that's where the water's going, or you tell the NCR, nah, I don't know what's happened. And the consequences for telling them you don't know where the water went is that some of the farmers working for the NCR leave. So they lose some of their agricultural power in the area, and they have to rely more on the locals for food and that sort of thing.
It sounds like it ends with something pretty significant that does affect the rest of your playthrough.
Not really.
Well, not like in a significant sense.
Not in an actual gameplay sense, but in like a
story
in a story-wise
That's what
sense.
I mean.
Yeah.
It affects, like, whatever you make affects it in a story sense. Not like a gameplay sense, like, oh, now you're going to see less farmers, and that means the
there are less farmers.
Well, I mean, but then
it's not gonna be like the NCR is now weaker because you did this. It'll be something in like the story when they're wrapping up or something.
No, that's what I mean. It seems like it gives a good addition to the story, which I think a lot of side quests don't do. It's always some kind of like really cheap side quests always do like some kind of simple gameplay mechanic, and then it doesn't affect anything. Like there isn't a story to a lot of them. Right.
And in these, I think the other things that the story doesn't have to relate back to the main story, like with Skyrim, nothing relates to the main quest. But there are a lot of good side quests, and there's also a lot of shitter side quests too in Skyrim, but there's a lot of good ones. I think there's one that you just kind of run across where it's a woman that, it's a witch, and her sister has locked her up and has taken the item of power basically, and it's just that you're going to team up with me so that I can fucking kill her and get my shit back. And you're like, okay. And you just do that. And like, it's a dungeon crawl with some story elements, but it's fun. It's fun, and it's worth the time to do it. Or like when you go hunting for an ancient sword, and you have to find out the story of like all the generals who died because they betrayed the Red Eagle, who was the name of the original commander, or of a father's 3 sons and how they destroyed each other, like things like that.
Stories.
There has to be something that sets aside that side quest to be different from the other things you're doing.
Yeah,
because if it's just a dungeon crawl with nothing else, then there's no point. If it's a fetch quest through a dungeon crawl, there better be something that moves along some character's characterization or something.
Yeah, I think for me, the things that make good side quests are either like a really like a story that is moderately like engaging. Like it's not like a shitty, oh, my wagon broke and my cabbages spilled onto the road. Please get a new wagon and carry my cabbages.
That's actually a thing. That's actually a thing in Skyrim. The cabbages don't spill, but his thing's broken, and then you go help him. And later you realize that guy is one of the members of the Dark Brotherhood.
Well, but that's an interesting twist.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and then he kills the people who didn't help him because he broke down outside their farm. He kills them.
Like, that's an interesting thing. Whereas a lot of other quests would be like, oh, my cabbages, they're on the road. And then
you pick up the cabbages, like, oh, thank you, here's this gold. And that'd be the end of the side quest.
Yeah, that's the end of the side quest. It's a really weak side quest. That's so like for me, I think it needs to have some kind of engaging kind of like story thing to it, story tidbit, either good like reasonable characters or like engaging like plot or whatever, even if it's a small plot, or like some kind of fun gameplay element.
There's something there's something to that effect. So it reminded me of like this one tidbit in Dragon Age 2. Now most of that game is garbage. Most of it's garbage, but there's one fun thing in one of the side quests for one of the companion quests, one of the few good companions you have, like one of the really well written ones. It's basically that it's the unreliable narrator of your story.
I see.
And the companion quest goes, okay, we gave an artifact to his brother, but that artifact is cursed, and it factors into the story later. Don't worry about it. It's going to be dumb. Don't think about it. So you go to his house, and then his brother calls in all these guards.
Okay.
So the gameplay becomes that Varric, that's the character's name, takes out his automatic crossbow and starts killing all the guards single-handedly. Like, he'll fire a crossbow bolt, and it'll go through 3 guys and pin them against the wall.
What?
They're, like, falling from the stairs and the banisters, and they're shooting, but they're missing, and they're chasing him down with swords, and he's cutting them down. And then, like, it gets to the final bit where he kills the last of the guards, and his brother's on his knees covered in blood, and it's like, oh, Varric, I'm so sorry. You're so much better than I am. I wish I'd listened to you. And it pans out, and it dissolves to Varric sitting in the chair telling the story. And you're so handsome and courageous, too. I wish I could be like you. And the interrogator, Cassandra's like, Varric, focus! And it's like, oh, okay. And then you go back to the lame, boring gameplay you were doing before. But that was fun, and that's why that part is memorable for me.
That sounds pretty fun.
You have to get through a lot of bad gameplay to get to it, but it was worth the moment.
I think a lot of developers are just, I don't know, maybe also a time thing, or maybe the producers are like, don't worry about that, worry about other things.
You're probably focusing on like main content, and you do side content either after or during. And
so I guess that they wouldn't want to put too much effort into it, or if you're a producer or like the executive board, be like, we gotta make it prettier. Make it prettier.
I mean, if it's a Bethesda game, all the effort's gonna go into the things around the main quest and not the main quest itself.
That is very true.
And I appreciate them for that.
Yeah. I guess it's, if we could see more memorable side quests, I think that would make the game itself, outside of it, the end game content or basically if you don't want to do the main quest and stuff like that, more memorable and less of a grind to play through. Especially if it's like a short campaign too. Like Fallout, I'm going to use Fallout 4 as an example, but there are some games that have short main story quests. Fallout 4 has like, what, a 6-hour campaign? Like something really abysmally tiny.
Yeah, but you don't do it for the main quest for Fallout 4. Yeah?
You don't play Fallout 4 for the main quest?
No.
Mean?
No,
no,
one
I
does.
know. But I mean, like, if it focused on just the main quest, that's a really disappointing main quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
trying
to say.
So like that part, like, yeah, that part of it, that aspect of it's disappointing. But by the point of Fallout 4, you kind of get the understanding that Bethesda isn't here for the main quest, and not even Obsidian's really there for the main quest. They put more effort into their main quest, but that's not the main reason you're here.
I know, but I'm just saying that if a game was relying on its main quest, and its main quest was like not great,
shit.
Yes, and its side quests were just generic and boring and just like time fillers, then it's like it's gonna be a weak game in general.
Mm-hmm.
If a game, say it's not Fallout, but if a game had a weak main quest but a decent like side quest around it, then it would be a little bit better. At least that's my opinion.
So like Kingdoms of Amalur then.
I never played it, but sure.
That explains it pretty well. It's not a great main quest, but the side quests are pretty decent.
Yeah, I think that makes the game better than just shitty main quests and shitty side quests.
Right.
Because then that's just a mediocre game.
Right.
Not a bad game, just a mediocre game.
Right.
And one that you won't remember.
Right.
So, Dead to Rights Retribution or whatever it was that we played.
Well, I don't think there were any side quests there. It was just like, oh, you play Chet Manley or whatever his name is, and you play his dog.
And his dog, the Shadow or something.
The dog was actually kind of fun to play.
The dog was fun to play. It's a good stealth element to it.
Yeah.
And then you just rip people's throats. That was fun.
Yeah. And I rip their balls off.
And you, yes, you do.
There's even an achievement for it. It's
There's
called ripping their balls off. Like, wow, that's really blunt. And it's like, the game's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you got an achievement.
Want to go rip more people's balls off? It's like, yeah.
Okay.
Do I have to play Chet Manley again? Not until you're done finishing ripping these guys' balls off. Okay, then.
Good. All right, but I think that's all we have for
news and topics and shit.
Yeah, so maybe next week will be a little bit more exciting in terms of news. Maybe.
Fingers crossed for something cool to happen.
Hopefully not something super negative.
What have you been playing lately?
Huh?
What have you been playing lately?
I played Bruner.
I mumbled a bit there. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did mumble. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yes,
what
I watched your Bruner stream. Yes.
Yes.
You were awful.
Yes, I know. I was also really tired.
Yes, I saw.
Yeah, so it was a big mistake to play it while tired.
You'll have to give it another go when you're not tired, at least for streaming.
I'll have to. Yeah, it's quite fun though. I mean, you finished it. Yeah, and you told me a little bit of how the end is, and
it's pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. Like how fast did you finish it?
Like the game itself, like maybe. I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out on your Steam account that we can pull up right here.
Account.
Because we are technologically
Ruiner's right there.
Wow, look at that.
12 hours. It took me 12 hours to beat it.
12 hours is pretty reasonable, actually.
No, I mean like the ending comes up. What I meant by quick is that the ending comes up really, really hard and really fast.
I see. Yeah, that
you don't really quite know it's the ending until it happens.
That makes sense. I think in that case, if I were to compare it to something like Hotline is a little bit better than in terms of the ending, because at least with Hotline, the ending kind of builds up, and then there's like
you have no idea what the ending is, though. That's the problem.
In Hotline or Ruiner or both?
Hotline. I'm still confused by Hotline's ending.
Which one?
Which one of them is dead? And Hotline 1, which one of them's actually dead? There's the biker guy, and then there's Jacket. And one of them's actually dead because they both experience the same moment where they're in that little room and they meet up. But you do Jacket first, and then you do the part then you do biker guy next, and then you have that fight.
Oh, okay. So I think I read that it has something to do with like how the biker guy has like an overinflated sense of self. So he made it seem like he or I don't know, or like Jacket was like tripping out. I can't remember, but one of them is tripping out, and so that fight scene is not accurate.
So basically, neither of them actually died.
Neither of them actually die. I think biker guy actually appears in the second game.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. So it is a little confusing. I'm curious if Ruiner is like as confusing as
Nope, it's not that it's confusing, it's just that you're left with a lot of questions.
I see. So
it's not so much confusing as like it's more of a is that it sort of thing.
I see. Yeah, that would be kind of just like having an abrupt end would be really disappointing. But
it's not that abrupt, but like there's definitely like there is very little time to process what happened.
That sucks. But it's so fun though.
It's fun,
a really fun game. It's really fast.
Fun.
There's a lot to think about, and it's more. I think that's the thing. Hotline can get fast if you know what you're doing, but there's a lot of thinking. Like you're planning things out.
Ruiner is a lot of reaction.
There's a lot of reaction.
You have to react quickly a lot of things in Ruiner.
Not to say
and it's a lot faster.
Yeah, and not to say that Hotline isn't fast.
There's more planning in Hotline.
You
have to go be watching people. In Ruiner, you kind of run up to people and you have it's more of a rush. It's more of a mad dash through people and killing them.
I think that's the thing with Hotline Miami is they were trying to go for that rush, but with the way the game was, there's a lot of aside from the rooms being procedurally generated.
Doesn't mean you can't rush. It just means that it's stupid too.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's thinking involved and less adrenaline. And this is more, I think, taps into the idea of what Hotline Miami was originally trying to go for, or what as a game it's trying to go for. That rush of adrenaline when you're kind of like going in and ruining everything.
I mean, it kind of helps that you have superpowers.
It also helps you have superpowers, yes. You're given the ability to deflect things and whatnot.
And you can dash.
Dash
being cooler than flying.
Dash.
Like, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick dashing.
So you'd be the Flash instead of any.
Well, the Flash can run forever. I don't want to run like the Flash. I just want to dash, and then I want to with Ruiner, you can have 3 people in a room, and you can dash to one, hit them with a pipe, dash to the other, hit them with a pipe, or shoot them and dash to the third one, stun them, and then hit and bullet brains out the back of their head. That's a dash.
I know, but are we talking about actual life? You want to be able to dash in
No,
real life?
in science fiction.
In science fiction? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know I can't actually do it.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you had to choose a superpower ability.
If I had to choose a superpower, I'd probably pick Ruiner.
So you probably
he's my go-to for superpowers right now.
So dash, shield, shoot everybody.
Yeah.
And have a cool helmet.
Yeah.
A la Red Hood.
He's a cooler version of Red Hood and Punisher.
So he's Red Hood and Punisher put together.
Yeah, but he's cooler than both of them.
You're saying he's cooler than Punisher? That's a little surprising coming from you.
Punisher is cool, but there's a lot of things that are dumb about Punisher. Like when he punched a polar bear. It was cool, but it was also stupid. It's oh, come on. Or the Punisher game where he beats up a guy, interrogates him, then he puts the guy up against a zoo cage, and there's a rhino at the other end of the enclosure, and he waves the rhino over. The rhino charges over and spears the guy on his horn. That's dumb.
That's a lot of That's a lot of work to kill one dude.
Yeah, it's
why would you?
Punisher's cool, but he's also really dumb. And Punisher's an actually he's just murder porn, and because he doesn't solve any problems. He's just dealing with things as they come. He's more of a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid, yeah, or a bandage if you're gonna be non
product placement.
Yeah. That's what Punisher is. He doesn't actually solve the problems. He just kind of deals with problems, and then they're short-term solutions, but in the long run, they don't solve anything. Because he's usually not getting rid of the source; he's dealing with the symptoms.
He's trying to punish people. I mean, I don't know, man.
No, and the people who he punishes absolutely deserve it. Granted, they're written like that, but still.
So you're telling me that bad writers are writing the Punisher stories?
No. I mean, there have definitely been bad writers writing Punisher. And there's also been really good Punisher stories.
Just not ones with polar bears.
There's a Punisher story where the world ends, but Punisher still has one group of people he has left to punish. So he goes
Old Man Logan style?
Kind of Old Man Logan style, yeah. He has a friend who tags along. I think he dies by the end of the story before he gets to the end of it. And the thing is, this whole trek across post-apocalyptic United States, where things are fucked, things are not going to get better. Humanity is probably going to die in this setting, as it was what I remember it being. And then he shows up at the bunker, the American bunker for the rich snobs who get to live through the apocalypse, and he kills every single one of them. And they go, wait, if you kill us, that's the end of humanity. And he goes, I know. And proceeds to kill them all. And then he just sort of walks out into the nuclear radiation to die.
So he pulls a Old Man Logan and Judge Dredd.
Kind of, yeah.
I see.
It's a really cool story though. I can't remember if he actually walked out and the radiation died. That I might be mixing that up with another story.
You might be mixing it up with Judge Dredd.
No, that doesn't happen in Judge Dredd.
He walks out into some kind of wasteland.
No, that's in the movie, and that's his mentor that walks out.
I see.
All the judges have to do the long walk though, which is at the end of your career. You take a fucking rifle and a book of laws, and you go administer laws to the wasteland.
It's a really long
which is
walk.
really cool. The comic books are really cool. I need to start reading more of them. I read one of them. It was really good, but the movie's awful.
The new movie was fine though. I thought the new movie.
No,
was fine.
the movie is fine, but that's not the one I
Oh,
saw.
No, you saw the shitty Stallone one.
I'm familiar with the shitty Stallone one, but I've never seen the new Judge Dredd.
I am the law. The law.
And it's is there anyone else we could find that could speak words? Well, there's Schwarzenegger. No, we'll keep Stallone. It's fine.
Stallone is a lower paycheck.
Stallone's lower paycheck, and I guess we can make out what he's saying, kind of.
It's close enough. It's fine. He's also got the mug. He can mug for the camera.
Yeah.
All right.
So what else did you? Was that the only thing you played?
That was the only thing I played. Yeah.
I've been playing shitloads of Total War, Warhammer. I've been playing the first one and second one because I'm trying to beat one campaign in the first one that I've always had a hard time with, and then the second one, that one just came out, so I've been getting really into that.
And how's that going?
Pretty good. I have an army of lizard dudes, and they're fun.
Is it an improvement or is it more of the same?
It's definitely things have been polished.
Okay.
Things have been polished, and they've added new features and that sort of thing. There's more polish that could probably go into it. Like, there's definitely more things they could add to it, either in this game or the next game, because there's going to be 3 Warhammer games.
There's going to be 3? Oh, I didn't hear about the third one.
I don't know what the third one's going to be exactly, because they've included all the areas in the game that the Games Workshop guys actually wrote about. Because the only places left in the world are, like the places that are basically just, it's all demons and shit. And the places where almost no one writes about, like that game's version of what China is and what India is and what Japan is, because the Warhammer planet looks a lot like the real world planet.
Okay.
But names are just changed. So like China is like Grand Cathay, India is just Ind, and Japan is Nippon, which is exactly what it is.
Which is exactly what I was gonna say. It's like you get these like interesting. Well, they're not. I guess they're interesting. They're like different names. Like
Grand Cathay is sort of interesting.
Grand Cathay is interesting. I mean, I guess the Cathay Banks or something that you see around here is pretty similar. India is Ind. It's like, okay, that's just the name. Japan is Nippon.
Japan is just Nippon.
That's what they call themselves.
Fuck! What do we put here? What do we even put here?
What do we do? Let's just use the Japanese word.
The Brits won't know.
The Brits.
Us, we won't know. The other Brits won't understand what we're saying.
It's just their lack of creativity right there is astounding.
Yeah, but I've been basically juggling Total Warhammer and editing.
Yeah.
With Hit Film, because Lightworks exploded.
Well, rest in peace, Lightworks.
Rest in peace, Lightworks.
I don't know. I'll have to give
friendship with Lightworks ended. Hit Film now new best friend.
Now new best friend. It could do so many things. I'll give Hit Film a try because it seems pretty interesting. I like the effects. The thing that I wish Lightworks had was the motion tracking, because then it would make editing shit like all the JoJo's Steam sale videos so much easier.
Yeah,
because then I could just motion track like all the Steam logos onto like Jotaro's hat.
Yeah,
and have it move with him.
I'm not sure if it's something in Express or Pro, but I definitely did see someone. It's probably not in Pro. It's probably.
I hope it's in Express. If it's in Express,
I would imagine something in Express. Because it will track like a certain group of pixels, and it's like it'll follow that group of pixels as it moves. I think.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
I think that's what it does anyway.
Because I definitely want to make videos similar to like how Kraken makes videos too, or Bet Banana, where they had the text floating on top of the person.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that would be hilarious for some videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it, right? Unless you have something else you want to talk about.
No, that's it. I'm good for this week.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be it for us for this week, and we'll see if there's more news next week.
Hooray!
I don't know what's coming out. I think Evil Within's coming out next week.
I got all the games I want right now. That's like I have Warhammer 2. That's what I have. So
that's the only game you want.
That's the only game I want for the moment, and we'll see what comes out later.
We'll see.
Next week we should probably talk about the Swery game coming out.
The Good Life?
Yeah. That looks fucking crazy, and I want it.
Well, good news for you.
Yeah.
It's still available for crowdfunding on fig.co or something like that. Anyways, he only has like 9% of his goal, so feel free to donate.
I'm going to.
I just plug Swery65's game, right?
Yeah.
I'm a corporate shill now. No.
But it is Swery, right? It's not, because I always get Swery and Suda mixed up.
It is Swery. It is a Swery game.
Okay.
So the guy that did Deadly Premonition and D4, it's his
Swery.
game. That's Swery.
Because I'm trying to remember it now. I'm pretty sure Swery is the one who wanted to make a video game about a high school girl who solves mysteries, and she gets her powers from masturbation.
Maybe. I don't remember that one.
That sounds like something he'd do.
But he does a lot of crazy shit.
I want him to make that, though.
No, The Good Life looks fun.
Yeah.
Like, it looks fun because it looks crazy.
Yeah, I want The Good Life.
So, I want that made. You can turn into a dog in that game now, too.
Yeah.
So, instead of cats, it can be dogs.
No, I'm fine with turning into a cat.
I mean...
I'm fine with that aspect of the mechanic.
Yes.
I'm not sure if turning into a dog really changes that much.
I don't know. You have 4 dogs here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting pretty sick of them.
You're getting pretty sick. You have 2 big dogs and 2 small dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
They're all annoying. They're all annoying. I love them, but they're annoying.
How are they annoying? They seem so, like... doggish. I don't know how to describe it.
You already know why one of them's annoying.
Oh, I know why that one's annoying.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the other 3 are just like...
No, the other small one's just so needy.
He just
it's
wants
all
pets.
the time. You pet him, but it's not enough.
He just wants more pets.
It's like a mafioso walked up to you, held a knife to your throat, and said you're not leaving until there's more pets being distributed.
They just want to know they're good dogs.
They're
good dogs, Brent.
Sometimes they're not good dogs.
They're good dogs.
I think that's going to be it for this.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. We're going to end on a dog note.
End on the dog note.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. See you next week. Right? Next week?
Probably,
Next week. All right,
Next
see
week.
you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.